Hey guys, I wanted to talk today about the use of thee, thy, and thou. I actually did a video on this on my YouTube channel, which you can check out if you want. I've got a link in my bio to my channel if you kind of like, what do those mean? But I want to talk about why they're important right now. And I'm going to give you an example of how they come into play because actually they're really powerful. So the thing that you need to know about thee, thou, and thy is that they're actually the informal usage of you and your, not the formal usage. So if your brain's kind of exploding, you're like, what are you talking about? What I mean is, even though we think of thee and thou as a kind of fancy pants, oldie worldy language, actually characters use those words when they're talking to someone that's either kind of on the same class level as them or someone that they know really well. But why does that matter? It's actually a super important thing to look at if you want to understand. It's a great tool to understand the power dynamics in a scene. It can also tell you a lot about the relationship between characters and the character, the personality of your character. So if you notice a character switching between you and your to then thee and thy, something's going on there. It usually means that they're talking down to someone in some way, or that they're becoming more familiar with them. So it sometimes comes into play when characters are kind of like courting. So in Romeo and Juliet, you kind of see it where they will use you and your for a while when they're kind of like being polite to each other. But then as they kind of get to know each other more, they'll use thee and thy a bit more, thee and thou, because they're it's the kind of love coming into play and they're taking a risk and going, okay, I know you now, we're close. So that's something that can happen if it's a romantic relationship. But if it's not romantic and it's not friendly, you can sometimes see it coming into play when people are actually manipulating each other. And this is where it can be really interesting and can help you make your acting choices. So, for example, in Lady Macbeth's speech was the hope drunk wherein you dressed yourself, and going on to what beast was then that made you break this enterprise to me. She switches between you to thee and thou and then back to you again. Why is she doing this, and what does it tell us about her and how to deliver this speech? When she's talking about was the hope drunk wherein you dressed yourself, so this is the you usage at the start, it's kind of a neutral, and then she really starts to dig in. So she starts to use thy when she says, from this time such I account thy love. She's dressing him down. She's like, I'm gonna treat your vows of love like some drunken, boast or lie that you said before. She's really stepping it down to him by using the thee and thy. She's giving a real dressing down there. Wouldst thou have that which thou esteemest the ornament of life, and live a coward in thine own esteem, letting I dare not wait upon I would. So that is all like talking down. That's why that is there, that thee, thou, thy, thine usage in that section. Then she goes on to talk about when you durst do it, then you were a man. And to be more than what you were, you would be so much more than man. Then she switches back to you, if you noticed. That's because she's building him back up again. She gave him kind of like a rip and apart to make him feel kind of rubbish about himself. And now she's like laying it on thick, going, oh, but if you did this would make you a real man. And that's why she's using the you again, because she's building him back up, using the formal usage of it, making him sound like more of the king that she wants him to be. Lifting him above her in status, bringing him back into the power, being more respectful in her usage of it. So it's very interesting to watch those kinds of power dynamics at play. It can really help you understand, okay, in this bit, because she's switched to thee and thy, she's really trying to dig in. And this happens with a lot of characters, a lot. It happens all the time. So it's a really great way to analyze where you can find information in the text about how to play the scene. Let me know if you have questions about that, because it's such a good tip that so many people don't know. So now that you know this brings you above so many actors. Yeah, make ourselves feel good about ourselves. All right.